Now he's done something to piss off his wife. Fucking women in this town, bro, just want their men dead. You see, the key, bro, is you use stuff we already have. And you start buying and borrowing shit. That's how you get caught.
You've got to cut him loose.
He's my brother.
I'll do it myself, bro, but I need your help getting the body in the ute. He works down there, alone, fixing milking shed motors. Husband of the year, he is not.
So he's going to do it.
Do what?
Well, he's not going to fit in their hole.
Old farmers is one thing, bro, but cops, man.
It's tall. We have to
Why
leave
not?
you.
Why not?
Need a favour. It's going to be hard on you, but you will do it.
We're done! Oh, no, you don't want to be a bloke. Do you realise what you've done? Wait!
Welcome to the Double Loop Film Podcast, Episode 8. In this exciting episode, we talk with Haydn Butler, the writer and director of Home Kills, a dark humour story about two brothers, Mark and Tom, struggling to keep their on-farm butchery business afloat. Haydn has a long career in the TV industry as a writer, director and producer, to name a few of his talents and skills. Taking his first step into the feature world, Haydn and his team have created a cinematic classic starring the talented Josh McKenzie. Listen on as we talk about Haydn's career, how he brought his story and vision to life. Really, I think for me, you've got an amazing film out, Home Kills, and can I just start the clock a little bit earlier and say, well, how do you define yourself? Are you a director, a writer, producer? Are you a creator? Are you a storyteller? How do you? We did a 30-second elevator pitch in the pub. How do you describe yourself?
I just describe myself as a filmmaker, and that kind of covers all those hats, I guess. But it is hard, it is hard to define yourself, because I've always done bits of everything. I was fortunate enough to get into a job back in the mid-2000s over in the UK where I was forced to learn a bit of everything, and so that really set me forth and I'm interested in learning everything, which is bad, because I think if I was an expert in one particular thing, I'd be great. I'd be like, my career would be going insane. But it's because I'm interested in all sorts of things. I'm interested in the technology side of things. I'm interested in the writing and the structure. And I'm also interested in the visual, more artistic side of things. So I just kind of wish that I was into one thing and specialized in one thing, because I think I'd be a lot further along in my career.
But I think having those skill sets really does give you that ability to tell a better story, I think. Do you agree?
Yeah, it does. But also people are scared of it. Like, I find that people are, when you know a lot of different things and you join an organization where they're used to, this is my part of the machine and I'm used to doing this and I don't stray, and then you come along, it freaks people out. So, I do editing, I do graphics, I did a bit of 3D animation as well. And that, when you go along to an organization where they've got 3D people and they it kind of freaks them out a bit when you're just trying to bypass them just to get the job done quickly. And so I found there is a lot of pushback for having that. And then sometimes you join organizations where it's rewarded. Like I'm jumping ahead, but I used to work at Nickelodeon and MTV, and that kind of stuff was rewarded at those companies because it was a little bit punk rock, fly by the seat of your pants. Get them out there with a camera and get an interview with Billie Eilish, and it was great. And then I'd go to more organizations that were set in their ways and that would panic when you came on board because they're trying to keep you interested and stuff. But
yeah. Was there a moment early on where you thought, you could do a billion things, but there was a moment, this is for me, this is the bug, I'm really...
Yeah, I get into things and then I jump on to the next thing. But I always wish, like, I wish I'd gotten to cinematography really early on, and I wish I'd gotten to 3D early on. But I don't know. I think the ultimate thing is writing. That's the thing that I have fun with. It doesn't cost any money. You can muck up and no one has to see it.
Yeah.
And it's a very, very good job. Like, I mean, I don't get paid really for writing, but I kind of have done like copy and stuff. Like I write a lot of copy for promos and ads and commercials and stuff. But if you can get to a certain level, writing is the best gig anywhere because you can do it anywhere. You get paid well, and and it's very flexible, and you've got space to try things out. So I think writing, if anyone's listening, writing is the way to go. And you create your own work, and yeah, it's yeah, I always think
It,
every actor should be writing their own stuff as well, and
yeah, for
trying to get
sure.
that
Yeah,
happening. So
yeah,
I mean, there must be. I mean, writing's. Given you've said that, but from my experience and from a lot of writer friends I know, it's not easy. You really have to have something to say. Is that fair enough for you? That
yeah, yeah. So
you're expressing. Is it cathartic to you when you've actually told the story? And
it's yeah, it's annoying to me. I don't like doing unless I've got a good idea, and well, like a lot of my writing is I'll be riding my bike to work or walking along, and I'll get an idea or I'll hear a bit of dialogue, and that's when I get excited. The actual putting it into paper is I do find a slog, and I find it hard to do. But things work, they work, and yeah, and so I encourage everyone who wants to get into writing. Like, so this movie, Home Kills, we pitched it probably about 15 years ago to the New Zealand
yeah,
Film Commission,
yeah,
and they were doing a scheme called the Elevator Scheme. And there was like hundreds of people applied, and we got down to the last four, and we were
yeah,
flown over to. I was living in Australia at the time, so we were flown over to New Zealand to pitch it to their panel, and so we pitched it, and just their questions back. Yeah, it was just obvious. I just didn't know how to talk about story in a meaningful way.
right,
Like
right,
their question
yeah,
would be,
yeah,
so how is this movie going to be funny? And you'd go, we're just going to write some jokes and put them in, and and just you just wouldn't have a clue of when they ask you questions like that. And so I came away from that thinking I've got to learn how to talk about story, to write story, and properly. And
right,
so
right,
all I
yeah,
did
yeah,
was I did a few screenwriting courses. I went on the internet and YouTube and just learnt tons until I
yeah,
felt
yeah,
comfortable. And yeah, so that's what I say about you. Everything is available on the YouTube. I use it all the
yeah,
time.
yeah,
I'm doing an editing job. I don't know how to do something. I'll quickly go to the toilet, on the phone, look it on
absolutely.
YouTube, and then yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So you really pull your ideas together and you've got a notebook and then you just sort of gel them and then
absolutely.
yeah,
My
yeah,
most valuable asset is my my phone, because I just type the notes in as I go,
yeah,
and a lot
yeah,
of the time it's when you're not wanting them to come into your brain. So on my bike is a lot of the time is when I get the ideas, and I'll
yeah,
stop my bike and I'll write that note in. And so I've got all these jokes, plot points, ideas for movies, all written out on my notes in my phone, and they're
yeah,
backed up to the cloud, so I can just go in there anytime and just say, "Oh, this would be great in this scene," and grab that
yeah,
joke and stuff. So
yeah,
yeah, that's what I do.
yeah. I've read that when you first came across this idea, you and your Datsun 120Y, which is a classic story. You've got the spark and you're pulling those notes together and you're pulling those things together and it clicked. Was it a sort of
Yeah,
a moment?
it was just coming across the idea of those are weird words on the side of the hill that are together. My mate had to explain to me what they were, and then I was like, "Oh, that's." And then we just said to each other, "What if they killed people?" And then, and it was just butchers that started killing people because times were tight, and so from there, you get a goofy idea like that, and I've had it in the back of my mind. And I think when Breaking Bad came out, the guy who created Breaking Bad says it's good to have a goofy idea. High
Yeah.
school teacher starts making meth, and then
Yeah.
write it backwards to make it realistic. And so that's what I
Yeah.
did. Is I just like, how
Yeah.
do I make it a bit more realistic? Like when
Yeah.
I
Totally.
eventually when I first went to the New Zealand Film Commission, they were Black Sheep had been a bit of a hit, so they were trying to push
Yeah.
us into doing Black Sheep, and I was like, I don't want to do Black Sheep. I want to
Yeah.
do the Coen brothers kind of vibe, but set in rural New
Yeah.
Zealand. And they were just
Yeah.
into it. They just said it's too hard.
Right.
Those guys are smart guys, which is a bit offensive. Those guys are smart guys. Yeah, they just said so that they basically they didn't give us the money, but that was great. It was a great experience, and I'm grateful that we got to do it. And it obviously
Yeah.
that helped me get my shit together story wise.
Yeah. And I've been through that pitching process myself, and it can be hell on earth. But I think if you approach it with the attitude of openness and take everything that you can from that panel and say, okay, I hear you, and this is how. It's that old skit comedy sort of improvisation, yes, and
Yeah,
not just a clash and say, oh, you don't love my idea, I'm going to cry about it, but
yeah.
I'll take the support and yes and stuff. So how did you got over that process, and you went away and you jammed as much as you could in, and it refine.
Exactly. Yeah. And it was like not sitting down to knock it out over a week or a month. It was
Right.
literally, I'd write a section of it, and then I'd just, as I had those ideas, I'd go back in and go, oh, that'll be great for that bit. That'll be great for that bit. And it just
Yeah.
refined and massaged it for over like 5 or 6 years. And then, and that was how I got it. And that's why it ended up being probably better than it had any right to be. It was just because I had time to think about, does that work, or does that not work?
Yeah, for sure. Sure, and it's a gut feeling to you. I mean, you've been in the industry quite some time, and you've been working on all these other projects, and you've seen all this other people's work, and then is it sort of intuition that you've been building up?
Yeah, it's just your taste. That's the thing that you've got over everyone else, is you might not have the skills, but as long as you've got the taste. And I always found that I had, according to me, pretty good taste, and good taste in movies. And it's about that taste. And what you like, and it's all pieces of the things that I love in that movie. I guess there's heartbreaking things that happen in the process from script to screen, and
Right.
a lot of them
Yeah.
was just, you get rid of all the funny lines, get rid of the jokes, because you've got to get to the story and get the story
Yeah.
moving. And so that's
Yeah.
the really heartbreaking thing. And a lot of it was budget when we were filming, as you go, oh man, we haven't got the budget to stay here for a few hours.
Yeah.
We've got to take this
Yeah.
scene and that scene and mold them together. And,
Yeah.
and so it's a lot of pressure that way, and you're just thinking on your feet. And and so in the end it turned out good, but it's there's so many points where it could just turn out bad and be a mess.
Yeah. And so you went back and you found funding and started building a team. What was that process like? You've been refining for years, and now you're putting your heart and your soul back on the table.
Yeah, so it was more along the lines of COVID. And so I was working comfortably in television. I was making good stuff, doing okay financially. And then I thought, I was like, this isn't really what I wanted to do. Like when I went to
Right. Yeah.
university, I was into film, and this isn't really what I want to do. What am I doing? And so I talked to my mate Lanny, and we'd had the dreams of making a movie together. We both went to Waikato University and did film and TV there. And so we had the dream since we were 18, 19. And so we went, so he just was really encouraging, because I was like, oh, here's the script, I don't know. And he was just like, it's really great. This scene's got to be cut down and that scene's got to be cut down. But he was really positive. And then
Yeah.
I kind of grew a pair and started to send it to actors and actors' agents. And that's kind of really hard. But it kind of got positively received.
Wow. Yeah,
And some big actors said they were interested, but just schedule didn't work out. but and they were really positive, and they could see what we were trying to do. They liked I guess they just liked the tone of the movie we wanted to make.
Yep.
And so yeah, it kind of grew from there. And then the key thing that happened was there was this guy called Josh McKenzie, an actor, came on board, and he believed in the project. He wanted to be a producer on it, and he just brought these probably more professional people to the table, brought a lot of actors to the table, and had a really good take on things. Smart guy, good sense of story, and no ego. He was just such a great guy, and it really it makes you think. Yeah, I don't know. I thought actors were one way, but he was just the opposite. Really energetic, really curious, keen to push the envelope, and a brilliant actor. It was weird. I was watching him on something called La Brea, which was a big budget, big budget American kind of show. I think they were trying to do a new Lost, and he was on that in the cast, and I was like, that's the guy I need to play Mark. But I thought he was American, and then I did some research and found out it was all shot in Melbourne, and he was a Kiwi, and I was like, oh my god! So I just sent him his agent the script, and they were great, and he was into it, and I just had to fit it around his schedule, and we just went from there. Like he just recommended, I recommend this person, I recommend this person, this would be a good DOP, this would be, and so it all just grew from there. And because I was really experienced in TV and ads and all that, but I wasn't experienced in narrative, and so he was just really useful to give me advice on narrative and acting and all that side of things. So I learned a lot from him.
So it sounds pretty pivotal that you've got to have a good team and a good set of people around you. Can you tell me about some of those key relationships, whether it's the DOP or the first AD or any of those people? Was there somebody that really stepped in apart from Josh? Or was there somebody else that really sort of helped you bring this vision together?
So like this movie was all privately funded. So a lot of people stepped up with finance and money and stuff like that. And there was a producer who came on board, Trish, who was a friend here in Australia, and she took a risk coming to help me out and doing stuff like that. And then there was people like Alex Jenkins, who's the amazing DOP, and everyone always remarks when they see it, oh my God, it looks amazing. And he was great, and he just did so much more than just a DOP. He kind of produced in a way, and it's because he had the right vernacular for working on set, for talking shots and all that. He'd worked in that kind of field before, and he believed in the script, and he brought on good people, really kind of industry renowned people to help out. And it was that because like when, in such a small budget, things shift and change. And so we just have to turn up to places without storyboarding. And that was when his expertise came in. He just go, okay, so we get a wide shot here. We'll get two sizes this side, two sizes that size, and then we're done. And, so he was amazing and great. And I learned so much off him just because I'm used to TVCs and stuff and like doc stuff. And it was just, it was fascinating. And I'm just grateful those guys believed in the script, believed in the tone of it was the tone of the movie that, that they kind of, put their faith in, I think.
Was it? I mean, the Waikato seems to play almost a character role in itself with the landscape and the thing. Is that fair enough to say? Why did you shoot in the Waikato?
A lot of it was I just had roots here. I knew I had roots here. I never wanted to shoot in Auckland or around Auckland because basically the first thing Alex Jenkins said was, why don't you shoot around Auckland? Then we can get all the professional dudes. They come out. We just go out. And we just can't afford it. And they're a little bit more jaded up there. So in and around Cambridge and all that, it was just they were just happy to help out and be involved, and they were enthusiastic, and so we just got tons of value that way. And it was basically just because I knew the area well. I had people that I knew in the area. My mum lives in the Mount, so I could just travel over every day, and we could set up a little production office at my mum's house, and
Yeah, for sure.
I'd travel over every day, and so that was kind of why we chose there, and we that was one of the saving graces of that was probably the best decision I made, because there was pressure to shoot it elsewhere, and I just said no, I know this place, it's great. And so yeah, that's and everyone says that, and it's great that we can show the Waikato off in that way.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's so much talent here as well. There's a lot of, people who come down from Auckland for a different lifestyle, and there's the local teams here that are getting better and better and better and better. So it's fantastic. Can I ask a little bit about your directing style? You've got Josh on board, who is really helping you producing the role. How do you approach having a group of talented actors from different backgrounds and different range of experiences, and get your vision to come forward?
Yeah, I just approach them like a friend and just say, hey, I'm a first time director. I don't know how that works, but I'm just going to talk to you like you're my friend, and go from there. And so, and they were just very different ways of preparing. Um, all the actors were very different, but it was literally like, the thing I regret is we didn't do a table read, which would just give
Right.
everybody an idea to
Yeah.
know what was happening in what scene and how the story fit together. We just didn't
Yeah.
have the time. Josh's
Yeah, for
schedule
sure.
wouldn't allow it. So
Yeah.
he came in late, and so we had to shoot all the really intense bits of the movie first. And so that was really confronting,
Mm.
saying the most intense bit in the movie, we have to shoot that on day one when the crew don't know each other, the actors are just met.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so that was kind of but and there was no other way around it. So, but we got through it, and I would just say that is just I just approached them like a friend. I was probably a bit more on the quiet side, but and I also, they're in the film crew. There's heads of department. I just let the actors be the head of department of their character, and trusted them a lot. And sometimes they'd say, "Oh, I don't know if this works," and in my head, I'm going, "Yeah, but there's a joke there." It's and so we just take it
Yeah.
out, because
Yeah, yeah.
they know the character better than me, and they
Yeah.
bring so much more. Like you think you know the character, and they just bring so much more depth than you could imagine, and
Yeah.
that's obviously really flattering and fun to see come to life.
Mm. Mm.
It's amazing. I think, um, being open and having a mindset that allows people to create within the space that you create,
Yeah,
for them to the playpen almost. I
yeah,
think that's
definitely, and
really amazing.
And again, a lot of the time is you're not paying people a lot of money. It was a low budget film, real ultra low budget film. You're not paying people a lot of money, so you think you've got to give them some say in what they think and stuff like that. And a lot of the time they had good instincts, how they played the characters. Um, yeah, they just had good instincts, and they were down for just coming along, doing their thing, and then leaving in the editing and everything to me. And a lot of the times there'd be it'll just this is the most common thing you say as a director, is just bring it down 10% or bring it down 20%, because
Yeah.
actors will always try and give you 100%, and you're just saying, actually, I just want to make it more low key, just bring it down. And that's kind of it. Slow it down is something you say, or speed it up, and that's about it. And it's
Yeah.
just making sure that they've realized what's going on in the scene, and don't miss any beats.
Yeah. For sure.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that it was good and fun to do.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And
it's
and hitting the
note. I
sorry.
think the note is that my um, directing TVCs and directing bits and pieces just did not prepare me for directing a narrative feature. It was a learning.
Yeah, yeah, always intense. I think. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And in the edit room, you're there for much longer than a TVC. Sort of, you've got time. Tell me about your editing process.
So the editor was me, so I edited it. So I edited it, and I it's weird. I didn't start that quick. Like I literally, it was such a shock to the system having shot that film that it was, you just need your mind, and you're under so much pressure. Every day is pressure, 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 pressure. And just ways that you don't think, you think, okay, I'm stretched. That's all
Yeah.
the pressure I can take today. And then something else will happen at the end of the day where you go, okay, you've got to find a new actor for tomorrow. And there's all sorts of pressure that happens. And so afterwards, I kind of thought that I'd probably be editing it as I went, but I just couldn't do it on the weekends. I just wanted to
Right.
think about nothing. And then after the movie, I didn't even start for 3 months. I literally just wanted a time to forget the footage and then see it again. And
Yeah.
so I I kind of just, I think the New Zealand Film Festival was coming up, and I just said, oh, I should get an edit together. And a lot of the time, kind of independent movies, you'll always see they get shot, and it takes them years to edit it and get it to the screen or whatever, and that's purely because they waste all their money and they haven't got enough money for an editor, or the editor, they've got to pay the editor every time. Whereas we didn't have that, so I could just edit it whenever I wanted. Didn't cost me anything, and so it meant that we could get it together a lot quicker. So I got it together pretty quick. And what you need feedback, but you need the right kind of feedback, because you can get
Right.
people that will just
Yeah.
destroy your work. Same with writing. You just get people that just say things, they don't mean it, but they just destroy all your drive. And so
Yeah.
I found a group of the right kind of people and just put a rough cut on at my work at the time, and bought some popcorn and it's confronting and scary thing to do, because you're basically saying,
Yeah.
this is what I think a good film is. And
Yeah.
and so we played it to these people, and they just gave notes, and it was very useful like that. They just gave notes, and
Yeah.
and I
I
just
think.
refined it based on that. But yeah, you just need the right kind of people to bounce off.
Yeah, I think the times that I've put my documentaries up for people to watch, I know it backwards, but you feel in the room when you've got somebody there, you can feel them switch on or switch off, or when they bristle against something, and you go, and then it's a little bit painful when you think, oh, I've missed that bit or I've missed that thing, and it's a whole ego thing to get past your own, because I'm my own worst critic.
Yeah.
I'll make something and within 6 hours I hate it, and I've got to get beyond my own thought process and own feelings about something, and being able to be open to those things. But I think you said having the right people is also very, very critical.
But I can't watch it with, just from what you said, I can't watch it with anyone in the room. So I haven't seen the movie with an audience. So literally my partner sat in that room and took notes, and then I went in after and interviewed them each. And I've like gone to the cinema, I've gone to the premiere over in Sydney and in New Zealand, and I can't, and you give a Q&A after the film, but I can't sit in the movie theater, because every little thing that you notice from the viewers affects you, and you kind of rake yourself over the coals. So if someone checks his phone during a good part, it tears you up. You just go, you want to say, why are you watching this bit? And then the laughs and the oohs and ahs obviously are great, but it's just the little bits when you just tear yourself apart. So I literally just go and wait in the lobby until the movie's finished, and then I'll walk in and do the Q&A. So I haven't seen it with anybody. It's interesting, because when we played at the film festival, the person who saw me out in the lobby, I chatted to, and she just said, yeah, Tom Sainsbury did the same. They just said and I'm the same. You just can't, you've seen it so many times over and over, you just can't watch it again. And they just said Tom Sainsbury did the exact same thing.
Yeah. So you've hit the film festival, and you're well received, and you've got interest, and people are coming to talk to you about distribution. What's that kind of that moment where you think, shit, I've got something here, it's gonna go?
So it was kind of a strange one, and you don't realize how much you need distribution or buy-in from the New Zealand Film Commission until those times, because they just help push the movie everywhere they can. They've got the might of the marketing and everything behind it. They can push that movie everywhere. And so we had to do it ourselves. And so we applied for something in Melbourne at the Melbourne Film Festival when we got in, which was you send your movie in, they screen it for industry people, and then you
Yeah.
get to meet them afterwards if they want to meet you. And so
Wow.
it was on the same weekend as the film festival. So literally,
Yeah.
we don't know if we could have made it, but we did, and they accepted us. And so I got the missus flew over to Melbourne to meet. It's like a speed dating. You go around and meet all these
Yeah.
distributors
Yeah.
and stuff.
The market.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, we just had some bites. Like a couple of international distributors said they liked it and they would be interested in talking. And then we had just a couple of us key New Zealand ones said, could we wait a year? We like the movie, but we've got so much else on. Could we wait a year? And then in the end, we Umbrella, who were they just had a big hit with Talk to Me, the
Mm.
Australian horror movie, and
Mm.
they were expanding, and so we kind of signed with them, and obviously it's a buzz. They say
Yeah.
positive things, and it's just good to have someone out there pushing it on your behalf, and they know the pitfalls and whatnot. So um, they believed in it, and they've done well. Like it's sold really well over in Australia, so we're happy. It's going to be on free to air, which is kind of insane. Like a really one of the biggest channels over here it's going to be on in next year. So that's pretty
Yeah.
insane.
That's pretty awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, it's crazy. Like I almost didn't believe it. I just said, man, there's swearing in it. Have they watched it? There's so much swearing.
And it's being released here in New Zealand coming up in the next couple of months, and then you'll be following the film around, or
Yes,
how
yes. So
much?
it's getting like a cinema release in Bay of Plenty and Waikato, and I'll be following it around doing a Q&A tour where I'll talk to people
Cool.
afterwards. And yeah, it's exciting. It starts September the 2nd.
That's right. Yeah, not far away.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. It's just going to be interesting to see the people in the cinemas. I'm looking forward to seeing the cinemas. There's some kind of really small boutique cinemas that'll be fun to play at. And yeah, just looking forward to seeing the reaction and see how it goes. But yeah.
Yeah. And you've got more in you. This is just the start for you. You've got more stories to tell.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a case of having the time to write. So now is when I feel like I've got the time to write. And so I've got a couple of 3 or 4 different movies happening
Great.
and a TV show that I'm trying to get off the ground and all sorts of stuff. But I haven't actually sat down and written anything substantially, but I'm ready to do that now. And that's what I want to do over the next few weeks. Just put pen to paper and reach into my notes on my phone and try and get something together. But it's all just about
Yeah.
getting one concept that you kind of haven't seen before and fleshing it out. And I think I've got a couple of those, so we'll see how it
Yeah.
goes. But yeah, and because of the distribution and the kind of good success story of the film, we did get some funding from the New Zealand Film Commission. We got like a big wad of cash for finishing, which was great, and they were amazing. They
Yeah.
just got the film, and so it's just good to have a connection with them and
Yeah.
be able to pitch
Yeah.
stuff at a different level. Going in as
Yeah.
someone I think they call them mid-career, mid-tier, or something like that. As someone who's
Yeah.
had something that's played at the festival and that's been distributed, it just gives you. They just listen to you a little bit more, and so that's going to be exciting. Being able to pitch our ideas to them and see what they think.
Yeah. I'm going to change a little bit or attack on you. You're in the marketplace at the moment. You're in doing distribution. You're following your movie. How do you think the New Zealand film community is at the moment? There's a lot of people saying AI is coming, and there's all these kinds of changes coming. Do you think it's a positive direction for the New Zealand film community at the moment? How do you feel
I don't
about that?
know. I'm kind of straddled between two, the Australian film community and the New Zealand film community. I don't know. I'm a bit nervous about AI, but I've got friends that aren't nervous and you hear it a lot, but as soon as I see an image that's I go,
Yeah.
ugh. I think that's how
Yeah.
AI is going to be treated. Is you're
Yeah.
interested in proper real images, but as soon as you see something that's AI, and I know they're going to get more realistic and stuff like that, but you can just tell. And so
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like when the internet came in, people were a little bit nervous when
Mm.
I remember when HD HD cameras came in, everyone was super, super scared because
Right.
the cameramen were like, "Oh, it shows up every little detail on your face." It was this fear. So I think it's going to be. I don't think it's much to worry about. I think it's good for one man bands. It can help you out in lots of different ways. I imagine there's probably some AI going on in this software that we're using to help make our voices better. And so I don't think it's a bad thing. I actually think there's just not that much of a reason to be scared about it. Like I've got a friend who's a writer, like a proper writer, and he's thinks it cracks him up that everyone's scared of AI because he loves it. He uses it all the time, just folds it into the way he works, and
Yeah.
he uses it like that. And this
Yeah.
guy's he's written 20 published novels, so he's like
Yeah.
he's a proper writer. So and he's into technology as well, and he just says nothing to be afraid of. It's you can just use it as a tool and
Yeah.
be positive
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. I think
What do you
we'll
feel
wrap.
about
I agree, and I think I started back in the film days with film and processing hand by hand. I've still got dermatitis and loss of sense of smell because of all chemicals and stuff. So when digital came through, it was just a lot of photographers went out of business because their bread and butter stuff just disappeared. But it all came back, and you know things are always changing, and it's just a matter of being flexible and taking the tools, and that's what they are. They're just tools, and building them into your workflow, getting the best out of it you can. But I think humans have this uncanny ability to tell when something's fake and when something's real. The human factor is still very strong and very thing, and I think whether it's computer effects or writing a script or an actor, that human factor, humans will always tell. So there's always a place for us. It's about being flexible enough to find your posse and making a career out of it. So it is what it is, and it's not going away. Yeah, yeah. I think you've this is your first film. You obviously have been through a journey. What's a couple of things that you've taken away that you could pass on to others?
I think the best thing, and I tell this as much as I can, is just be like, sounds cheesy, be like water. Don't be set in your, like, because there's a lot of misgivings that the depiction of the director in Hollywood has given us, and you get people behaving like C words and yelling and insecurities. It's just literally, if you want your film to be a success or whatever, it's just be like water. Listen to everybody and be flexible, because it's when this movie could have gone off the rails at any time. If someone came up to me and said, "I don't think we can do that," this is the best scene I've written in the movie. I don't think we can do that. We've got to do this. And I could just go, no, no, but you've just got to go listen to them and go, okay, how can we get around that? And your heart's broken because you've lost your favorite bit of the movie, but you've just got to get over it and look at the bigger picture. So that's what the key takeaway I have found is that my ability to be a chilled out guy and listen and be flexible really benefited a low budget creation like that we undertook, is just being flexible. And that's what I would say to people is don't get on the set and start making demands of people that aren't getting paid like an insane amount. It's just be flexible, and everything else will fall into place. People will want to come to the set, and and that's why I think we were the success that if I could say we were any kind of success, was because I was flexible and listened to people and not a hard ass.
Yeah. I think it was, with that attitude and that approach, you also open up the opportunity for the happy accident, and the thing that you didn't look for will come to you. Where if you're closed fist,
And that's how art
you
is
miss out.
made.
So
Art is made by, not being strict and on the rails, and this is what we've got to do. I've worked in those places before, and you just think it's not gonna happen. So we did the show. I did the show with the Veronicas a while back. It was a kind of a documentary series show, and the absolute the best scene that everyone talked about in the movie, in the show, no one wanted to do. The girls weren't that into doing it. The My boss said no, you can't do it. Everyone just said no, you can't do it. And so my boss went on a holiday, and I said, "Oh, let's just do it anyway." And it ended up the best thing in the movie, the best thing in the show. And it's just because that's how great stuff is born and interesting stuff is born. Not playing by the rules, and I'm a firm believer in not playing by the rules. Yeah, that's how the best stuff ends up on screen. And I didn't think of that. I could do this, or I could do that. Yeah, so that's another thing I would say is don't always play by the rules. Do the unexpected if you want to make something good.
cool. Hey, look, I'm very grateful for your time. Thank you so much, and congratulations on your film and bringing it to life and getting it out into the world. So it's amazing. Thank you so much.
Excellent. It's great to talk to you, Chris, and good luck with your projects as well.
Thanks for watching and listening. In our next exciting episode, we talk to Mike Jonathan, director of Ka Whai Whai Tonu. Can't wait to share it with you there.